Hey Ward, our top story at 6, election 2014. News Channel 3 has a team of reporters bringing you election coverage up and down the coast tonight. And we start with one of the most highly contested races. That's in the 24th District congressional race. Democratic incumbent Lois Capps against Republican challenger Chris Mitchum.
We have team coverage. Tracy Lair is live with the Chris Mitchum campaign at the Fess Parker Resort in Santa Barbara. But first, let's go live to John Palmentary in the Lois Capps campaign at Soho in Santa Barbara. John.
And Lois Capps is expected to be here a little bit later on tonight as she seeks her 9th term in office. You might recall she was first elected in 1998 after the untimely death of her husband, Walter Capps, who was the seated congressman at that time in what was known as the 22nd District. Now it's the 24th. Let's go inside here at Soho Music Club and Restaurant, and we'll set this up for you. Obviously empty now, but this is the room where they're expecting over 200, possibly 300 supporters to come in what will be their election night party, and the congressman will come up on the stage here when she arrives sometime after 9 o'clock. We're expecting to give her speech right now to her supporters. Let's take a look now at where she was today. Earlier this morning, she cast her ballot. It was a vote by mail ballot, but she turned it in person at her local precinct in the city of Santa Barbara where she lives, and then it was done with that, off to campaigning for the rest of the day, which she is doing at this hour right now. We understand she's on Trigo Road in Isla Vista, working to get out the vote in the college community of Isla Vista and UCSB. And earlier today, she was actually on the telephones calling up voters to remind them to vote in this very important election as she seeks her 9th term in office. And back here live at the Soho Restaurant and Music Club, this is going to be a packed place. She has a lot of grassroots supporters and has a big groundswell of support in the Santa Barbara area, and we'll see how that weighs against some of the campaigning that's been done in the northern part of the district up in San Luis Obispo and Santa Maria as well, where Mr. Mitchum has been quite a bit as well. We'll have full reports for you tonight after the polls close at 8 o'clock to keep you posted on all the election issues regarding the Capps campaign. Reporting live at Soho, where the Capps election party is going to be held later on tonight, I'm John Palmentary, News Channel 3.
All right, thank you, John. And let's head over to the Chris Mitchum campaign. That's where Tracy Lair is standing by live in Santa Barbara. Hi, Tracy.
I'm here at the Fess Parker Doubletree Resort, and the volunteers are trickling in. They say they've been making campaign calls all day at the headquarters, and they expect the candidate, Chris Mitchum, to arrive around 6 or 6:30 or sometime in this next half hour, and we'll try to bring an interview to you from him. I can tell you in the 24th race, he has run for Congress before, but this is the closest he's come. It's a face-to-face with the incumbent, and he had a grassroots campaign. He said he wasn't getting a lot of attention from the Republican National Committee, so he did it on his own, and a lot of people here really believe they can do this. They also are getting word that there's a big vote by mail turnout, and they think by 8 o'clock they'll know a lot of information just based on those votes, and they're pretty optimistic. And they're here at a bar called The Set, which seems fitting because Chris Mitchum grew up on a set as the son of actor Robert Mitchum, and he also appeared in about 80 movies himself as an actor-producer turned politician. Reporting live in Santa Barbara, Tracy Lair, News Channel 3.
All right, thank you, Tracy. California's 26th district election in Ventura County is up for grabs as well. Incumbent Democrat Julia Brownlee is vying to keep her seat. President Clinton made a stop in Oxnard last week to help the Congresswoman stump for votes. Brownlee is seeking a second term. Republican challenger Jeff Gurrell, who is a California state assemblyman and an Afghan war veteran, hopes to unseat Brownlee.
And now we take a look at both sides of Measure P. It's Santa Barbara County's fracking ban.
Keith Carles is live in Santa Maria with those who oppose the initiative. But first, let's turn to Victoria Sanchez, who's standing by live in Santa Barbara at a polling station where you can vote if you haven't done so already. Victoria?
Yeah, that's right, Beth and CJ. We have moved locations. We are now at a polling station on San Andreas and Carrillo in Santa Barbara. Now, the proponents of Measure P say this measure is all about the environment. They say that the oil companies have identified thousands of potential drilling sites from Carpinteria to Santa Maria. Now, the locations that they're talking about, this would ban controversial techniques like fracking. That's been a very big issue for the past couple months in Santa Barbara County. That would be injecting water, sand, and chemicals underground to break up rock and extract the oil and gas that way. Also, steam injection, where steam would heat the oil to 500 degrees to get it out of the ground. Now, they say these ways would damage the water, the air, and also our surrounding environment. Now, when it comes to this measure up in Santa Maria, that's where the No on Measure P group will be meeting after the polls close. Now, here in Santa Barbara, the Yes on Measure P campaign will be meeting here locally. We'll be live there with the results from this election. Live in Santa Barbara, Victoria Sanchez, News Channel 3.
Okay, and we want to look at the governor's race now. Governor Jerry Brown, favorite to win a fourth term. Republican Neil Kashkari, though, is not going down without a fight. News Channel 3 reporter Elise Martinez joins us live with more on this race. Elise.
Despite some recent field polls, Republican gubernatorial candidate Neil Kashkari is still optimistic about his chances to unseat the incumbent. Now today, Kashkari headed to the polls in Laguna Beach in Orange County to hand in his absentee ballot. Despite lagging behind incumbent Governor Jerry Brown by more than 20 points in a recent field poll, Kashkari thinks the race is still competitive.
About 2.5 million ballots have already been submitted. We're 28% registered Republicans. 38% of those ballots are from Republicans. If Republicans turn out, as it looks like, much higher percentages than Democrats, I think this is going to be a competitive race.
The people of California know more about my candidacy than any other candidacy in the history of California. Look, this is pretty clear. Save water, save money, vote 1 and vote 2.
Governor Brown did his voting early. The governor cast his ballot last Thursday at the Alameda County Voter Registrar's office in Oakland. Now, Governor Jerry Brown also outspent Kashkari. Kashkari spent about $6 million on his election campaign, about half of that money coming from his own pocket. Governor Jerry Brown spent about $24 million on his re-election campaign. Live in Santa Barbara, Elise Martinez, News Channel 3.
Okay, thank you for that update, Elise. The state's most expensive campaign is for state school superintendent. It pits two Democrats against each other. Sitting school superintendent Tom Torlakson facing off against former charter school executive Marshall Tuck. Now, both sides have very different visions of how to educate California's children, and they have spent $30 million on their campaigns, 3 times as much as the governor's race.
A new field poll shows there could be a record number of people voting by mail this year. In the last general election in 2012, about half the voters cast a ballot by mail. In Santa Barbara, elections officials tallied 50,000 ballots this afternoon, hours before the polls close. In San Luis Obispo County, just shy of 48,000. And in Ventura County, 80,000 mail-in ballots were in by this afternoon. That same poll is projecting a new low in California voter turnout. Today's report predicted a 46% turnout, meaning only about 8 million of the state's 17 million registered voters will cast a ballot. Turnout was steady but light this afternoon at most polling places in Santa Barbara. We checked in at the Veterans Hall, where some voters came out for the candidates, others for the measures.
Yeah, I just came out today just because I felt like some of the local issues hit home and some of the issues within our state, so I just felt like I should come out and vote today.
Whether you vote Republican, Democrat, or Independent, if you don't vote, then you ought to be quiet because you have no reason. Voting gives you the right to complain about government.
Well said. In 2012's general election, more than 70% of the state's registered voters turned out to vote.
Okay, let's take a look now at the No on Measure P campaign. Let's go live to Keith Carls in Santa Maria with that part of the story. Keith.
Well, CJ, this is where the No on Measure P campaign will gather tonight at the Radisson Hotel near the Santa Maria Airport to watch the election night returns come in. The No on P campaign has framed this decision as a vote to defend, that is, the future of all onshore oil and gas exploration and development as we know it over the coming decades. Now, currently, there is no onshore fracking of oil or gas in Santa Barbara County. But Measure P, opponents say, aims to eventually shut down all onshore oil and gas production, despite its history of more than 100 years of pumping oil and creating jobs in the past. Now, this room at the Santa Maria Hotel, or that is the Santa Maria Radisson Hotel near the Santa Maria Airport, is expected to be full tonight to watch these election night returns come in. And again, this is basically going to be a close one to watch, given the polling data that's been done by both sides of this very, very contentious and controversial campaign. We're live at the Radisson Hotel near the Santa Maria Airport. Back to you.
Okay, and we will be watching that one closely. Thank you, Keith. And be sure to join us tonight for extensive election 2014 coverage. We will have live team coverage of all of the hottest races, and we will bring you the numbers as they come in on those controversial ballot measures, and complete election results all night long at KEYT.com.
All right, Nick.